Rain pattered on the window panes, mimicking the rhythmic beat of Sarah's heart. She nestled deeper into Michael's embrace, the scent of his cologne a familiar comfort. They were watching the Atlanta skyline, a tapestry of shimmering lights against the stormy backdrop. His arm tightened around her, his touch sending shivers down her spine. "I love you, Sarah," he whispered, his voice husky with emotion. She turned to face him, her heart overflowing. "I love you too, Michael." Their love story was like a sweet melody, filling the Atlanta air. They met at a local coffee shop, drawn together by shared dreams and aspirations. Michael, an aspiring architect, was captivated by Sarah's vibrant spirit and her passion for painting. Their dates were filled with laughter, stolen kisses, and whispered promises. He painted her dreams on canvases, and she filled his sketches with color. They were two souls intertwined, ready to paint their own masterpiece on the canvas of life. As weeks turned into months, their bond deepened, their love blossoming like the magnolias that graced their city. They explored hidden cafes, strolled hand in hand through Piedmont Park, and danced under the moonlight. Every moment with Michael was a precious gift, a testament to the love they shared. Sarah knew in her heart that Michael was the one, the man she wanted to spend the rest of her life with. A wave of nausea hit Sarah, forcing her to abandon her easel. She rummaged through the bathroom cabinet and stared at the small plastic stick in her hand. 2 pink lines. She was pregnant. A whirlwind of emotions swept over her. Fear, excitement, anticipation. Her hand instinctively went to her belly, a place where a tiny life was already taking shape. She couldn't wait to share the news with Michael, to see the joy in his eyes, to embark on this new journey together. That evening, with the Atlanta skyline shimmering outside their window, Sarah prepared a candlelit dinner. She placed the pregnancy test beside his wine glass, her heart pounding with nervous anticipation. When Michael arrived, his face lit up with a smile as he saw the effort she'd put into their evening. He noticed the test almost immediately. Silence descended upon them, heavy and suffocating. The joy Sarah expected to see in Michael's eyes was replaced by a look of sheer panic. "Are you sure?" he finally choked out, his voice barely a whisper. Sarah nodded, tears welling up in her eyes. The man who had promised her forever was suddenly a stranger, his touch cold and distant. He paced the room, his face pale, his words tumbling out in a torrent of fear and uncertainty. He spoke of dreams shattered, of plans upended, of a future he wasn't ready for. The following days were a blur of pain and disbelief. Michael, who had promised to move mountains for Sarah, was nowhere to be found. His calls went unanswered, his texts left unread. The man who had painted her world with love had vanished, leaving behind a canvas of heartbreak and despair. Sarah wandered through the familiar streets of Atlanta, the city they had explored together, now a constant reminder of her shattered dreams. The laughter of children, the sight of couples holding hands, the very air she breathed, seemed to mock her pain. Alone in her small apartment, the weight of her situation crashed down upon her. Fear gnawed at her, whispering doubts and uncertainties. The thought of facing pregnancy alone, of raising a child without a father, was daunting. She missed Michael terribly, the warmth of his embrace, the sound of his laughter. But more than his absence, it was the betrayal that cut the deepest. He had promised her forever, and yet he had abandoned her at the first sign of responsibility. One day, amidst her despair, Sarah received a call from her older sister, Jessica. Jessica, her voice filled with concern, had heard the news from a mutual friend. She arrived at Sarah's doorstep that evening, her arms laden with groceries and a heart full of love. She didn't offer platitudes or empty reassurances, but simply held Sarah as she sobbed, her tears a testament to the pain she carried. Jessica's presence was a beacon of hope in the darkness, reminding Sarah that she was not alone. With Jessica's encouragement, Sarah began to rebuild her life, piece by piece. She joined a prenatal yoga class, finding solace in the company of other expectant mothers. She started painting again, pouring her emotions onto the canvas, transforming her pain into art. Atlanta, which had once seemed like a city of broken promises, slowly began to reveal its compassionate heart. Her neighbors, aware of her situation, offered kind words and helping hands. She found strength in the most unexpected places, in the smile of a stranger, in the warmth of the sun on her face, in the tiny life growing within her.